And we are back with another episode of the Top 3 Show where I talk to some of my favorite artists about their favorite artists. And man, we did it. We got to my white whale of a band called Love. It's a man called Love, Mr. Ryan Love, the heart and soul of the band, singer-songwriter extraordinaire, the voice of the band. You may also know him from past works in bands like Lorraine as well. I mean, just super talented. He plays every instrument known to man on top of it. But I just love this dude, and I'm so excited that you're here on the show with me, man. Welcome.
No, thank you. I'm super. Though, thank you for the kind words too. That's very, very kind. But no, man, I'm stoked to be here. I've been looking forward to this for since everybody's been doing their rounds.
Yeah, man. Yeah, well, it was all leading up to the big one. So, and as you know, I'm a huge fan of the band, and I'm so excited about the future, everything that's going on right now. When this drops, I think it's going to be like right before your big year-end show, December 7th. Everyone be sure to be there at the Masquerade opening for the Calistao Boys. So, um, but yeah, man, are you ready to be known to the universe with these four big questions here?
Absolutely. Let's do it. Let's run it.
All right, man. First question, your top three favorite albums of all time, starting with number three.
All right. Yeah, number three. I am going to have to go with an album that was introduced to me as a kid, and it really was the first time like I heard music, and I was just like, "Oh, this is interesting. This is possible. This is a different sound." I think like up to this point, my family had listened to a lot of like country music, and which was great. Like, but it was like Alan Jackson, and it was great.
Sure.
Like, but it was a bop and all that kind of stuff. But then I heard like distorted guitars for the first time, and that record was the first the self-titled Boston album from them.
Ah,
And so
nice.
I
That's
think
a great one, man.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Front to back, I don't think there is one skip on that record.
More
But
than a feeling, baby. Yeah.
yeah, man, and Peace of Mind was another great one from
Oh,
them.
yeah, yeah.
You
No
just like
skips. That's true.
the way that they can like they really did a such an interesting job of meshing the acoustic guitar elements with the with their crazy synths and organs, and then you've got the really like crazy
Hmm.
solos, and just it's just that whole record feels like a epic journey to me. So
Yeah, it's such a guitar album, but yet so poppy at the same time. Like, how can you not love it, man? Like, no matter what genre of music. Like, so that was like the album that kind of like got you started on your musical journey, basically, or like,
yeah, like pretty much I actually and they were Boston was actually my very first concert ever as well.
oh wow, man. How old were you?
I I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I was in third or fourth grade at the time.
Okay,
My
nice.
my dad knew I was starting to get to kind of take an interest in music, I think, and
Hmm.
they were playing at some amphitheater, and like it wasn't the original lineup or anything like that, but they were
Right.
it was still so cool. And my dad was like upset about how loud it was and everything, and I was like, "Nah, turn it up, let's go."
Yeah, yeah. That's so cool, man. So so both your parents took you to that or
Yeah, that was just my dad. Yeah, that was kind of
okay, nice.
that album's kind of special to me. I think because of him. I think it's always funny. I'll bring it up to him like every now and then over the past like several years, and I'll just say like, "Oh man, Dad, this record still just holds up. Like it's 2024, and this record came out like I think in the
Right.
sometime in the late 70s, early 80s."
Yeah, I think that sounds right. Yeah, they fall in that category of me to me of like and I love them, but I don't know that much about them. Like when you said the band members are were different, like I saw Foreigner like maybe 10 years ago and they have like a totally new lead singer or like several of the band members are different, but it was still great. But yeah, they're like of that like late 70s, early 80s wave, which was just totally fun, but and so complex too, like guitar wise. It's yeah,
And,
it's
and
crazy.
song wise, like some of the songs that were coming out like at that time, and then a little bit after, they would have these like massive, just like not they were jams, yeah, but they were just like these epic, dramatic, like
Yeah.
grand things almost theatrical at points. You've got like Meatloaf and stuff like, you know what I'm like.
Exactly. Yeah. And they were highly more influential than most people realize too, because like even Kurt Cobain, and he may have meant this ironically, but I believe the riff for Smells Like Teen Spirit was based on More Than a Feeling, like that whole four chord change. Yeah.
I know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah, man.
That's
So that's
really
really cool that that's your number three, man. That's wild. I'm excited to see where this goes next.
it's
So
it, you know
yeah,
where I thought it was gonna go. So I
this
thought
is awesome, man. So what's your number two?
so. My number two is Meteora by Linkin Park, and
Ah,
yeah, so
nice.
another one for me that's there's no skip. All my top albums there are no skips for me, but Meteora.
Yeah,
My brother is really kind of the reason I got into music at all. Like he's the one that introduced me to this record, and I remember he picked me up from a VB like a vacation Bible school day or something like that. My
yeah.
mom was working, and he picked me up. We got in his truck, and he just put this record on, and then it starts with that cool little beat with the glass breaking and everything, and then it goes straight into
Hmm.
the next song. And I'll
Yeah,
never forget the first time I heard that, and that was just another moment for me where it was just like, oh, this is something completely like Boston was one thing, and this
right.
is the thing that's like now looking back was certainly one of those moments that completely influenced uh like kind of where like the music that I grew to love and
Exactly.
to write and all that kind of stuff. So
And that
Meteora,
totally makes sense where Ian, had a different Linkin Park album on his list. So yeah, with the two main songwriters of a band called Love having that as such a big influence. But yeah, Meteora, man, that's like so many of their hits, like, Numb and but also like to me, like some of the cooler songs on that record are the ones that are like more of the gems, like Nobody's Listening, which is really cool. That flute sample is so awesome.
it's really awesome. Breaking the Habit off that record,
Oh
that
yeah.
it's filled with like it all of that whole record's just filled with gold, ear candy all over the place.
And great, like for me at the time too, I remember it was like super great workout music. Like I would always have that instrumental session playing at all times in the gym. So yeah,
That's
totally.
so crazy. It's so cool. I love what's his name, Mr. Han.
Mr. Han, yeah. Joe Han, man. Yeah, like everybody plays an intricate role in that band. Like people don't realize and another way that you guys are influenced as a five piece, I'm sure, but like uh yeah, everybody has their specific role and nobody kind of well, I mean, Chester was kind of shown very bright, but it's they don't try to outshine one another, I guess is what I was trying to say.
They're very Chester and Mike just compliment. They're like Ian and I always like to use the Coldplay example from that one documentary we love, uh,
Yes.
that we've watched 1,000 times.
Exactly. A head full of dreams, right? Is that the one? Yeah.
And but it's Chris, and he's talking about when you put the different aspects of like the eggs and the such and such and the fish and chips on the plate, and you mix it all together, and that's what you got. And that,
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like that about Linkin Park for sure, because those guys, I mean, specifically Chester and Mike, uh,
Hmm.
just them writing together, that dynamic, I don't think is paralleled anywhere. It's insane.
Yeah. So I
But
like how this is going. It seems like chronologically, like in the growth of like how old were you when this came out?
this when this came out, that was I think this record came out in 2003.
That sounds right. Yeah.
And I was just coming out of, I think I was going into either my fifth grade or fourth grade year.
Wow, man.
I
That's
mean,
crazy.
that's why I have to credit my brother to all of it, because if it
I feel
wasn't,
so old.
I'd have
Yeah.
been, I don't know what I'd have been listening to. Certainly not all of this, probably, but
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, your brother has good taste, man, for sure.
absolutely.
So did he have this on CD, I'm guessing at the time or
I think he probably got it like we used to go to that Best Buy. There was a Best Buy like 15 minutes down the road. We'd
yeah.
go there. Probably got it from there at some point, and
Yeah.
but yeah, he was just like, you got to hear this. Just plug that thing in. It was just like, oh my gosh, what a whole nother universe. It was great. It was really cool.
That's awesome, dude. All right, so what is your number one?
Yeah. All right. My number one is In Rainbows by Radio.
What? Oh my God, man. That's
It's
awesome.
hard for me, but and I didn't mean to really make it go chronological, but when I was thinking about how I wanted to go about making this list, I was like, I kept thinking like there are so many records that are probably better than these records, but like for me, it was just like these are the ones that I think inspired me as a musician and as just a person in general. Like I just
Yeah,
I
man.
uh this minus Radiohead, even then he has a little bit unsure, but most of these records are pretty hopeful. They're happy, they're go lucky, and all that kind of stuff. And it's just
Well,
fun.
yeah, I mean, actually, in Rainbows to me would be probably, if I had to say, like their happiest record if Radiohead had one. But or to me, it's like their sexy album. Like there's so many great grooves on there, like Reckoner, All I Need, Weird Fishes. Like seriously, no skips. Like incredible record.
Vocal work on that record to me. I mean, Ian and I talk about it too, being like the coolest thing that we think has been released as far as like guitar music goes, and like the way that they use the three guitars on that album is, and as a band in general, but just that the way that record is written
Oh
is
yeah.
unbelievable. And the reason it's my number one is because those first two records, the Boston record and Meteora, they were kind of like groundwork, I think, to like push me
Hmm.
in a direction. And I certainly went down a very heavy music path for a little while. And but I came in this full circle where I just started really liking rhythm. I loved like really rhythmic music. And then
Hmm.
and I you and Ian I think like introduced me to Radiohead. And
Oh man, I'm sorry.
yeah, and I listened to In Rainbows and I didn't like it at first. And then
Right.
one of the songs kept getting stuck in my head. I think it was the first song, Two Step, I think is what it's called.
Oh, 15 step. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Two Step. Yeah, 15
Yeah.
Step. You'll find that I'm really bad with song names unless I'm trying to
Yeah.
but yeah, so I got that song stuck in my head, and I was like, well, maybe I'll just go back and I'll re-listen to this record. It was dead of winter, like everything's dead around me and everything like that, and this crazy somber but also kind of like intense music it just kind of it and the rhythms that they use too on top of all the guitar work. I just like it
Yeah, weird time signatures and yeah.
made me. It was another one of those records that made me realize, oh, something else is possible. This is,
Yeah.
like really crazy. But
And you've
yeah,
watched their live in the basement thing, right? Of them playing most of that album?
part of the reason why I fell in love with that record. But
Yeah.
that those live sessions, that's one of two records that have done that to me, like live records. That John Mayer one, where the light is, and this one.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, those basement sessions are crazy.
And it's amazing how close to the original they sound on songs like Body Snatchers and stuff. It's just like, oh my God, incredible.
tight, so like with each other, locked in, nuts. Yeah,
Yeah, we kind of just touched briefly on this on Ian's episode because of course we talked about Radiohead, but I think I just had it on once when CJ was over when she was even smaller. Or this was probably like a year ago, and she was just like in a trance watching Radiohead and was so into it. And then eventually she'd start calling them heads because that's the only way she could say it. And she'd go, "Papa heads," and she wanted me to put Reckoner and Nude were her two favorites, and we would dance to Nude, and yeah, it's so great, man.
so
But
fun.
she's ruined for life already, I think.
Yeah,
But
she's gonna
yeah,
reciting those lyrics by the time she's like 5 to Ian, just like
yeah.
Daddy, song. No, 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 no.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, man. But yeah, that's a great choice, man. I mean, that's certainly in my top three Radiohead albums. As you see, OK Computer's on my wall of perfect albums behind me. So I tend to love that one a little bit more, but I love there's not a Radiohead album I dislike. So
Yeah,
um yeah, I'm so psyched that that's your number one, man.
yeah, dude. No, I that was a hard one, but I really, it's just that song really just, or that whole record just kind of
Yeah,
made me want to be a better songwriter in general, and
that's
it's
so cool.
pushed me to just want, I don't know, yeah,
I can feel that influence on a band called Love as well. I mean, definitely, songs like Dots and the more experimental and rhythmically, kind of wild stuff, but also like your falsetto, which is excellent, by the way, always. Like I definitely feel Tom York in that as
yeah,
well.
yeah. I love that haunting, like the
Hmm.
haunting vocal that sometimes is drenched in verb, and just yeah, I love that sound. It's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, totally, man. Well, great picks, dude. So, did you, before we move to the next question, do you have any honorable mentions you wanted to throw in there on albums?
And I'm not gonna harp on them, but one of
Yeah.
them overlaps. I think one of them overlaps with Blake's actually, and
Okay.
22 a Million by Bon Iver.
Ah, yes. I
And
know you love that guy. Yeah.
I love Bon Iver, man. He's such a fantastic songwriter,
Yeah.
incredibly phenomenal singer. Just yeah, but yeah, that record is another one of those kind of like In Rainbows. Just it came a little bit. I heard it a little bit before In Rainbows came out, but
Yeah.
uh, for me, Bon Iver was just like that artist. He was very kind of folky in the beginning, and I loved his sound. It's that hunting sound that I like from Tom York sometimes. And
Right.
and then he released 22 a Million, and it kind of flipped that folk sound for me on its head. And
Hmm.
he adds in so many different electronic layers and vocoders, and he's got a completely um, a cappella track on there.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, where he's got a little some tuning on his voice, but it's just stunning. It's beautiful work. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's one for me. And then
Okay.
what I will say is Milo Xyloto, and I'll get into why
Ah.
later with Coldplay. That almost made my top three, uh,
Okay. So
but
that's your favorite Coldplay album then, technically.
that's hard to say.
Yeah.
That's really hard to say for me. It goes, but I think it's the most special Coldplay record to me, but I don't think
Hmm.
it's a Coldplay record, if that makes sense. And I'll get
No,
into
it totally makes sense. I mean, yeah, and like I
that.
love that record for so many reasons, but
Oh,
yeah,
really?
it feels like their most um I don't know, organically pop record where it all kind of works together, like everything from, and it's all over the map too. Like Major
Yeah.
Minus is so rocky, but then, Princess of China with Rihanna is so great. Like
Will say I
every,
love that song, but it that is one of the reasons for me. It's a great song, but
yeah.
I always tend to skip that one when I listen
Oh
to it.
yeah. Yeah, everybody has their different favorites and skips on that record, I think too. But yeah, for me, it's like Charlie Brown is like on a whole other level. When we got to see that, man,
Hey, with dude, that was so with the wristbands and everything. It's this
so cool.
they
So
know how to
cool.
put on a show. They know how to put on a show.
I have a feeling that's going to come up again later. Possibly. But so okay, we'll move on to the next question then. Top three favorite artists of all time, sir.
Okay, so I am going to start with my number three, and that is the 1975.
Okay. Yeah, we are getting a little bit of overlap with the other boys here.
And I'm gonna say I know there's controversy with that dude and everything like that, Matty Healy specifically, but whatever. I think
Yeah.
he's a like all of those guys are phenomenal musicians and songwriters, but he's just got a special brain, in my opinion. I don't know what it is, but as far as them as artists go across the board, I love all of their records.
Hmm.
One that I really don't like. I think they're all pretty different from one another for the most part.
Yeah.
I love bands that can explore different sounds while also keeping everything pretty entertaining. And they've done a phenomenal job of maintaining and growing their fan base while also being able to explore that sound. And I think that's super inspiring,
Yeah. Oh,
especially
yeah.
as a songwriter. But
Yeah, it seems like they're a pretty good template for like how to do it for bands these days because they do everything on their own, right? I mean, I'm sure they have management or whatever, but
yeah,
um
I think, I mean, yeah, as far as I know, like I know they have a record, they have their own record label where they sign artists that they love and all that kind of stuff, but they've
Yeah.
pretty much just kind of built themselves up from the ground up and just said, "You're not going to ignore me," which I think is awesome. I think that's really cool. But
Yeah, it's super creative, and yeah, like their videos are always like innovative, and like the way that they make their live shows look, and
yeah,
it's just crazy.
their last live show was like an entire like play, essentially. The first half of it was anyway, and then they just kind of went into their hits, but the first half of the show was just like this huge like play. Essentially, it was really just
Yeah, yeah. Is that something that like you guys aspire to do, like take it to another level creatively, or just stick with the songs live, or what?
I'm not gonna say no. I love stuff like that. I think Ian has a much better, like, clearer vision for things like that. Like I can throw in ideas here and there, but
Yeah.
with I can never say I would never say no to that because he his vision is insane regardless. So whatever he thinks of, we can all kind of gather around, and if we end up wanting to do something like that at some point, I'm down for sure.
Yeah, man, definitely. Very cool. Yeah, not to get like too far ahead or anything. I know you guys are gonna have some music releasing, hopefully like pretty early 2025, hopefully. But are you planning to do like any video stuff as well, or
Think we've got a video in the works right now that we're going to hopefully get shot this month,
oh
and
wow, nice.
yeah, it should be getting shot this month, and
Okay.
so we'll get that done, and that'll be out as well with accompanying one of the songs. Probably it's not going to come out, I don't believe, with the single, but it will come out later with an accompanying video. So yeah,
Sweet, man. Okay, yeah. I don't want to like overstep the bounds on like what we can talk about here, but that's super exciting to me. Okay. Well, so what's your number two?
my number two is Bon Iver, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
For that exact reason. Like I love. There's not a Bon Iver record that I don't love. Uh, my favorite is 22 a Million, just because of I think the songwriting is impeccable on there. It's just one that I don't have any skips on, and I don't really have skips on a lot of his stuff. Maybe a couple here and there, but
Right.
that record just tickled my brain in a way that none of his records really do. But across the board as an artist, his I think his creativity and
Hmm.
uh, I don't know. He pushes boundaries as an artist in
Yeah.
music, much
No
like his
doubt. I
yeah
mean,
yeah
yeah,
much
there's a reason why, he worked with artists like Kanye and like just all over the map. And yeah, the stuff that he does with vocoders, man, is like a whole other level. It's so trippy and cool.
unbelievable. Just yeah, it's always stuff that every time I hear a Bon Iver song, I would have never thought of this in a million years. There's like it's just
Yeah.
so the way that he uses all this everything that he uses. So
Yeah, the first Bon Iver song I actually heard, oddly enough, was on one of the Twilight soundtracks. And
yeah,
don't hold that against me, but I forget I think it's the second movie. But it's like it stands out as like the coolest song. Tom York also has a track on there that's cool too, but I love what he does. Like there's a female vocalist. I want to say it might have been Saint Vincent with them collaborating together. And she does the low voice, but he does a high falsetto on it. And it just sounds so, um, to use one of your words, haunting, that it's like it's a magical track, man. I can't even remember the name of it, but it's like so cool.
I know it was cool. I know it was a good song. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool, man. Yeah, I wasn't too surprised to see him on your list. So what's your number one?
I couldn't keep him out. And my number one is gotta I I feel I made this list and I love it. I'm proud of my choices and everything, but I looked back at it and I was like, man, I'm milk toast, bro. Like just I could guide ships in from sea. Like uh
As a good friend of mine from back in school would say, "Ah, you're white."
like
And he also was white, which was the funny part. But yeah.
But yeah, so my number one is Coldplay. Like I can't say
Ah, there you go. Yeah, that is pretty white.
it's so fun, dude. I like it. There's again. I know that there are better artists out there other than Coldplay, but for me, there's just. I think I know. I probably know more Coldplay songs than I should, and a lot of that started because of Ian, and I don't hold that against him because
Yeah.
they're just such a good band. Like
So
I
this
love
might be my fault too, because I think Ian credited me for getting him even more into Coldplay. So
all Coldplay at the Masquerade, like back in the day, right? I think you brought that up.
yeah, man, that was Rush of Blood to the Head tour, which as you can see is my favorite album of theirs. But yeah, so even to see them at the Masquerade would have been crazy, but there was this crazy storm that blew the roof off and destroyed their equipment. And so they didn't get to do the show, but just Chris and Johnny out in the parking lot played for like 40 minutes for everyone who was there early. Plus, they reimbursed us anyway. It was just like, it was magical, dude.
Up close and personal playing like an acoustic like that's so cool. That's so fun.
Yeah, it was the coolest experience. And yeah, like they did songs they probably wouldn't have done otherwise, like Georgia on My Mind, I think he did, which was very cool. And then yeah, they did mostly like the songs that worked acoustically off their first two records. But yeah, dude, I get it, man. Coldplay, it's life-changingly awesome, man. Especially Rush of Blood to the Head was the one that did it for me, but everyone's got their favorite.
I love that record. Like that it's up
Yeah.
there for me with Milo. And
Oh yeah.
I think it's probably I think it's a better record than Milo. But I'm not gonna I'm foreshadowing here a little too much too. So
Okay. Okay. So there's even more Coldplay to come, you're saying.
there could
Hmm.
there might be there it's my it yes.
That's fantastic, man. But yeah, I mean, so we've talked Coldplay now on several episodes, of course, with Ian, of course, with Blake, we talked about, which I felt like such an idiot with Blake because I didn't realize it was him that was on the phone with Ian when we were like seated nearby at the show. Like I totally forgot. So he was like, I was there. I was like, oh, you were? What? So yeah, man.
The presence of Coldplay, yeah, you know.
Yeah, dude. But man, what a night. So that's awesome, man. And I can totally see as well, like and I think I said this to Ian once. I'm not sure if he passed this on to you, but we were talking about you as a front man, and I said that your humility is your superpower. And I get that kind of vibe from Chris Martin as well, which I like he on stage, he's like totally, very confident, you can tell, but like he's also very self-deprecating in interviews and whatnot. And I get that kind of vibe from you, like just in real life sometimes. So
Yeah, it's not a great trait trying to grow out of that a little bit, but
no, it's great, man. Like I have that as well, and I think it can come in handy with certain situations for sure.
I'm just trying not to be so hard on myself sometimes. You said the self-deprecation isn't always a great thing, is all I'm saying for sure.
Sure,
But
sure. But yeah, humility I think goes a long way just in life in general. And I think, so many things are opening up for you guys. And like it's cool also to see you leading worship at the Vine and all these other places. Like you're really kind of stretching your wings and like getting all this experience under your belt.
super blessed to have all of that. It's been a really cool gotten hooked up with a couple of different churches. I played down with Blake too, down at the church that he plays at, play drums there sometimes. And yeah, it's just been really blessed to be able to have all the experience that I'm getting right now, and it's definitely, I've talked to Ian about it several times. It's like forcing yourself to kind of do it all the time. Really, you have to make yourself better,
Right.
and so yeah, it's been a very cool. I've been super blessed to be able to have all those experiences for sure, man. Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Well, cool. So, did you have any honorable mentions on this one?
Dude, I have to say, Death Cab for Cutie is another one for me.
Nice. Yeah.
And there's some records I don't necessarily love by them necessarily, but I think they've also just had a big influence on me lyrically, especially. I think Ben Gibbard is is a phenomenal lyricist. Like he's got a really great way of using imagery to like captivate you and really make you feel what's going on in
Yeah.
in in the world of the song and everything. So yeah, been Death Cab's up there for me for sure.
Oh yeah, totally agree. What's that track? Follow Me Into the Dark or Follow You Into the Dark? Yeah.
That's another. I love that album. There's another song on that record. Called Brothers on a Hotel Bed. That's just like it's got this really interesting beat behind it, but it's mostly just like this almost Rhodes sounding kind of keyboard playing.
Yeah.
Uh, it's just a beautiful track. But then you've got the whole record's pretty somber and sad. There's something about those songs for me that I just kind of love. But
Yeah, for sure. Oh,
definitely Death Cab, 100%.
awesome, man. Okay. I dig it. Well, yeah, we're at the halfway point, man. So this is where it starts really heating up, man. People usually, I feel like they should be eating like hot wings at this moment because it's that difficult. But your top three favorite time, starting with number three.
Number three, I'm super excited to tell you about this one, especially because of what we were just talking about. I apologize. There's something in my way.
Yeah.
My number three is "Politic" by Coldplay, and
Yes, dude.
yeah, man, I just I think that's probably my favorite Coldplay song
Me
ever. Like,
too. Yeah.
there's the way it starts. Like, I don't think I've ever heard another song like that. I don't think there is ever going to be another, and there shouldn't be another song like that because it's so perfect from start to finish. The way that that song ends is just like devastating to me
Oh
with
yeah.
the ooze in the background with the piano just going in and then the live performance of that song specifically that like I've only seen videos. I've never seen them play that, but like man,
Yeah.
that song is a roller coaster. It's
Oh,
just
it's intense, man. Just the way, like, I love too, like, Will Champion's drumming on that is so, like, he does come at it like almost like a novice drummer because he's like, just hitting the snare and the bass at the same time, which is like a no-no, right? Technically, but it works perfectly.
good for that song. It just makes it drive so hard.
Yes. Oh my God. I love it so much, man. It's like Coldplay at their most angsty, which is you don't normally hear that. But yeah, when it gets to that give me love over this, it's just yeah.
Always heard a harmony too, and it's not in there, but I've heard it every single time I've heard the song, and it's just I wish it was in it. That's neither here nor there, but
Yeah.
it so mad when I hear things like that and they're not in songs, but neither yeah. But Politic is number three. That song is just
Yeah.
absolutely it's beautiful.
That's literally like I liked them going into Rush a Butt to the Head. I liked Yellow, of course, but that's the song that got me, man. As soon as I heard it, I was just like, whoa, these guys are going somewhere. And sure enough, it was like a month after when I mentioned that Masquerade show, that record came out. And then fast forward a few more months and they're playing that song on the Grammys and with Michael Kamen conducting an orchestra, which if you haven't seen that performance, it's like
I think I have. That's great.
so good. And then like it was shortly after there, like they were, in stadiums. So yeah,
Yeah, man,
no.
they blew up when they blew up, and it's they deserve it. I think. I mean, again,
Oh,
they're the favorite band, so uh,
totally, totally,
yeah.
man. That's so cool. Okay. This makes me very happy. All right, what's your number two?
So my number two, we're gonna kind of take a trip back up to one of my albums from my top three, and that is the Boston record. And
Okay.
Foreplay Long Time by Boston.
Yeah.
That song is a journey. Like we were that record in and of itself is a journey, but that song specifically is just like I think it's like 11 minutes long or something like that. And it starts off with this um crazy like synth sounds with a bunch of guitar hits, and then it's just this whole epic intro into this crazy bop, just pop bop with it's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
and there's just so many moments of like jam and everything like that in there, and like
Right.
it's so cool, such a
Yeah,
good.
pretty, I guess, progressive, I guess you might say, in a way, which yeah, I totally I could see that. it's so cool like doing this show. You know, you really I joke that like you get to the universe gets to know you, but I really do feel like it gives you at least a pretty good glimpse into the musical taste of someone. And I can t totally see like even from a young lad like being, you know, into Boston and stuff, and then your growth into these I guess more artistic bands, you might say, even though Boston very artistic themselves. But yeah, like you can totally see how that's influenced you, which is very cool to me, knowing that I've heard, you know, a lot of the finished product of a band called Love stuff. It's like it all makes sense. I'm connecting all the dots.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that song um it's just it's really I don't know, vocally too. I mean, Boston vocally is crazy. He's got
Oh yeah.
a very like he's just a true tenor. Just he can get all the way up there. Just and
Yeah.
love singers that can do that. And but yeah, melodically everything I just love I love Boston in general, but that song is 11 minutes of heaven. So, yeah.
Absolutely. That's so cool, man. All right, so what is your number one?
My number one is It's Not Living If It's Not With You by the 1975. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Another one that's I think that was someone else's number one as well.
Blake's. It might have been
Yeah,
Blake.
I
If
think
it's
so.
not Blake's, I think it would have probably been Ian's. But yeah, that
Yeah.
song not only I think is I agree. I think Blake said this actually, but I agree with him. I think it's probably one of the best pop songs, like pop rock songs of the last decade at least.
Yeah.
And or pop rock, yeah, pop rock songs. But not only that, I there was a day I was playing I was sitting in my bed and I'm playing Halo. Uh
Yeah.
and like I've got my headphones on and I'm just listening to this song and you know, I've got a past with alcohol and all that kind of stuff, and so that's I was just playing I was playing Halo one day, and that the lyrics just like sat in, and I'm just like mid Halo just gaming, and I'm just sort of like crying my eyes out because I real like all. I was all the pieces of the song were fitting together. Like of course, I've got these really nice like mixing headphones I was wearing, uh, and like so I could hear all the pieces and then all the lyrics just started hitting on top of that and I still wasn't sober at the time, so it was just like, oh man, this is so heavy, but like it
Mm.
I just felt very seen hearing that song because there's a line in it where he says something about like, you know, I've got to search the streets when I'm on vacation and all that kind of stuff, and you know, I've been there, I know how it feels, and maybe not to his level necessarily, but I like I get that, and that song just hits me right in my feels. But
Yeah, man. And
but just
on that note, so didn't you recently have like a pretty big anniversary with being sober?
yeah, I am what's the date? The 14th. I am a year and a little over 2 months sober now. Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Man,
Um,
that is no small feat, man. I mean, I'm proud of you, man. That's amazing.
I appreciate that. It's been fun. I mean, not it hasn't been fun, but it's been
Yeah, I get you.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's been a it's been really good for me for sure. But yeah, that song really the way that he talks about addiction and everything and his experience with addiction was um very helpful, I think, mentally. Just that song,
yeah.
he got out of it, and you know, there's certain he's got a song on one of his other records where he literally says, you know, how many hours or seconds or days it's been since he's had whatever he was addicted to. You know, just having an artist like that to be able to connect with, it's the reason why they're on my top artists. It's just like I felt seen, you know. So,
Totally get it, man. And music can be so therapeutic. I mean, I know it got me through a lot of hard times, so many different songs and artists, but that's cool that that one is like, sounds like a very big one for you.
yeah, definitely 100%.
Yeah, man. That's awesome. Is other like is would you say music is probably the most therapeutic thing for you these days, or um what do you or did you kind of had to like replace drink with something else, or did you, how did you
Nah, man. I think, and I've told this story to here recently. I'm actually at the Vine right now, where we lead worship. But
Yeah.
I've told the story recently. But I just kind of had a spiritual experience with God on the beach, and I can't explain what happened, but I just woke up the next morning after that night, just sitting on the beach, and I haven't craved it. I haven't wanted it since, and just there hasn't been anything that I've needed to replace it with. I think that kind of came with my relationship with God,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so which has been awesome. So there's that hole that that would have been there or that had been there when I tried to get off of it. Otherwise, kind of got filled.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's amazing, dude. Yeah, there's so many things that truly only God can do. Like we kind of have to rely on him for uh hopefully everything in life, but definitely certain things. But yeah, man. And especially too, like if you're so vulnerable and like at a point where you're desperate for him, then he can do his work in you. So that's amazing.
yeah, it was definitely it was I think that was one of the first times I really felt God in my life because it was just I was definitely at a low point and it was
Yeah.
cool. But yeah, that being said, like I was on vacation when that happened. True, and the line in the song and everything. I literally was actually like I wasn't even thinking about the song, but I was searching the streets to try to find where I could buy it
Wow.
to get a fix. And yeah, so yeah, that song just hits home for sure. But
That's beautiful, dude. Thank you for sharing that story. So, yeah, nothing's gonna top that. But did you have any other honorable mentions song wise or?
not song wise, I do not. No,
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, those are the untouchable three. I get it.
they're not the untouchable three, but those songs mean so much to me. I think, of course, again, just like with all the others, I know for a fact, like there's so many other better bands, so many other better songs. Like when you look with like if you dissect them and everything, but I just had to kind of go with whatever
Yeah.
whatever something to me, I suppose. So
Can I just, I haven't done this. I'd save this for you, save the best for last, right? Um, I feel like I should do this on this episode. My personal favorite top three, a band called Love songs. I'll do it just real quick off the top of my head because I mean, I love all your songs, but number three, Infinite, incredible.
okay,
Uh, love that song, and I know the version that's coming on the EP is going to be great. Uh, number two has got to be Colors Bloom.
cool, okay.
Absolutely, that's to this day I think is just I think one of the best songs of like the 21st century, but I might be overstating. But
I think you're overstating for sure.
and my number one is Dots on a Spinning Sphere. I mean, just incredible, man.
Yeah, man. Ian sent me specifically those the third and the first. Like he wrote both of those songs. So when he sent them to me, like they were instrumentally, they were basically like done. And he just sent them to me, and he was just like, "Hey, is this anything?" And I was like, "What do you mean? Like, are you kidding? Like, of course it
I
is."
know, like, yeah, just instrumentally, like, I remember like the genesis of that song. I feel so like blessed and lucky to like have some of these experiences. But I remember him at the loft playing that through the speakers, and I'm like, dude, like, that's already that I could totally see that being like in a film or like a video game or something.
Like
Yeah,
that by itself, it was so cool. We had this potential opportunity. It didn't turn out being anything, but we somebody heard that song. Do you know about this?
I
Somebody heard
remember that. Yeah, yeah,
of our friends like was like played that song for somebody over at Fortnite and like
that's right. Yeah.
and but I always thought even if it was just the instrumental of that song, it needs to be in a video game somewhere. It'd be so cool. But that's
Totally, man. But
really cool.
yeah, like
Yeah,
it's great like instrumentally, but what you specifically added to it, like I don't know, man. Like you guys as a songwriting team, the collaboration is really something special because it like it's magical, man. Like I don't know, you to me and I'm sorry that I'm gonna like throw all this praise at you, but like I don't know how big a fan you are of like Deftones, but
Oh
to
yeah,
me, like their music is so this may not even make sense what I'm about to say, like in comparison to you guys, but like they write music that's so heavy and like, metal, but the melodies that Chino comes up with over top of that, like brutal stuff, always blows my mind. Like, and
right, yeah,
I feel that way about you though, because like some of the stuff, like because I come at things with a songwriter's perspective, and I'm like, I would have never in a million years be able to come up with some of the stuff you do, just melody wise, and then lyrically on top of it. Yeah,
man.
man, it's great.
That really does mean a lot. It really does. I mean, it means a lot for a lot of reasons. I think I've worked at this for so long, like, and singing and all that kind of stuff didn't come natural to me. Like I wanted to sing for a really long time, and then like I've always heard melodies and stuff, but like I just couldn't really sing them very well. And then I got hooked up with a vocal teacher, and she like shout out Mama J.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
but yeah, she but that really does mean a lot, man. Thank you. Truly. That's so cool. And I really it means a lot that you like the songs as much as you do, because I know you genuinely love the music. Ian and I have talked about it. It's really cool to have like you on board and then like have you on like on our side and everything. So it's
Oh, legit, man. Like I know it's probably anybody that knows my relationship with you guys, especially with Ian, would be like, oh, it's because it's a family thing. But no, it's like I would seriously be a huge fan otherwise. So yeah,
that's
absolutely.
thank you, man. Really. Thank you.
Oh, dude, thank you, man. So now we've come to the very last question, the top three best concert experiences that you've ever had, starting with number three.
All right, number three for me is going to be Foo Fighters.
Ah,
Yeah, so I've seen Foo Fighters three times now, and I saw them with my brother when they played at Georgia State Stadium. I can't remember
okay,
who that was. And then a few years ago they played Shaky Knees.
right.
And then they played I've seen them twice at Shaky Knees actually. Excuse me. Um
Mm-hmm.
but the second time I saw them at Shaky Knees, I think it was just with me and it was just Ian and I, and
Yeah.
they still had Taylor at the time. It was the last time they played in Georgia with Taylor, and they covered a Queen song. What is that song that they do by Queen?
Was it Somebody to Love? I think I heard about it.
Love You.
Yeah.
And he crushed it, dude. Unbelievable. Like all those guys are so talented, but
Yeah.
it's just to sit there and watch them just shred for 2 hours. Like, they
Yeah.
maybe they play a lot of songs throughout their set, but like, and they'll play the hits, they'll play some deep cuts and everything, but they make all of the songs just so interesting, and like all of them, they all have some kind of epic jam that comes up at some point in the song. Like Monkey Wrench has, I don't
Yeah.
know, the way that they do their music live is just so much fun and it's energetic. And Dave Grohl, dude, like, come
Yeah.
on, Dave Grohl,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. What a
So
what a guy. Yeah, and I mean, can you believe I've never seen Foo Fighters live? It's like,
got to change that. We have got to
yeah,
go fighters.
yeah, yeah. We definitely got to change that. But yeah, I imagine just seeing them televised. But yeah, I mean, such an influential band for so many reasons. But yeah, like another thing that I totally regret, which is extremely impossible now, is seeing Nirvana live. But that would have been amazing too. But yeah, I guess I'll settle for Foo Fighters one of these days.
Something, man. They're magic live. It's so much fun. Definitely.
That's awesome, man. So what's your number two?
Number two is Bon Iver, and I
Okay.
would have put the Foo Fighters above Bon Iver, but the only reason I didn't is because unknowingly to me, uh,
Yes.
I'm not going to use an Ian word. I can't do it. So, but
Yeah.
I went unknowingly. I went to see him, and I knew I was going to see him, but I didn't know he was going to be playing 22 a million in its entirety.
Oh my God.
And so I like it was a birthday present, and I went, and it was just such a good show. He has that I mentioned that a cappella song from that album.
Yeah.
And he did that live, and it was like
Oh, wow.
it's at the Fox Theater, and when I tell you,
Ah, I love that venue.
oh, it's beautiful and it sounds so good in there, but like he
Yeah.
um since the song is a cappella, there's certain there's spaces of silence like in between certain phrases and everything.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, you could hear a pin drop in between
Yep.
because his vocal was so dry, and but he nailed every single note, and it is not easy that I don't believe to sing with that amount of auto tune on your voice like it, but
Yeah.
crushed it, man, and it was just beautiful.
Uh,
Everyone was so silent. It was so
yeah. I
really
totally get that, man. I think I mentioned this on either Austin or Blake's episode as well, but my number three best concert was also at the Fox. It's a very similar situation. It was Ray LaMontagne
oh man. Oh,
solo acoustic, and like the whole set was just him acoustic. And yeah, you could hear a pin drop. He opened with Be Here Now, which is just like a majestic song. And then, I mean, he did so many of my favorites, Jolene and like you name it, but
voice
just amazing.
voice covering Jolene. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that is magic.
Yeah, man. So yeah, but I'm so glad that you got that experience, man. What year was that?
I
Like,
think that was 2016 or 2017, somewhere
okay.
around in there. Yeah, Ian could tell you all the dates that I
Oh, I
mentioned.
know.
You know what? So if anybody has questions, DM Ian.
He's like a Rain Man with dates. Yeah.
Yes.
Totally. Well, so what's your number one?
My number one is actually Coldplay. Yeah.
I knew this would happen. Yeah.
So the reason I even got into that band at all was because, again, unknowingly, I didn't even know they were playing. I'd heard maybe two songs from them at the time, and this
Yeah.
was right. They were on their Milo tour, and they just happened to be playing the Shaky Knees festival. I mean, not Shaky Knees, Music Midtown festival that I
Right.
got that year, and didn't care to see him, but they were the headliner, and I didn't really know anything about Cage the Elephant, who was playing on like a stage over there. Which I now that I know Cage the Elephant, it would have been really really cool to go see Cage the Elephant, but
Sure.
I missed that. But regardless, I got like front row for Coldplay because I just the person I was with, she and I just went up to the very front, and we
Nice.
were just kind of waited for like an hour and a half or so, and then they came on and they played "Hurts Like Heaven," and well, they
Yeah.
started with the Milo intro and everything, and then they went into "Hurts Like Heaven," and with
Yeah.
Chris Martin's just like right here, and there's like all of the visuals from that era. It was so amazing and so hype, and I was like, I don't know why I ever thought it was cool to hate Coldplay because like at
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
this is so good,
Yeah.
so
Oh,
much
yeah. And so that's why you love Milo so much. 'Cause it was on that tour. That's made it special. Yeah.
it to me because like right after that show, uh, I listened to that record nonstop, just front to back, front to back, front to back. Even Princess
Yeah.
of China. I don't love that song, but
Yeah. So that was your favorite concert experience of theirs, not the Mercedes Benz?
the only reason I would like the Mercedes-Benz show was amazing, but
Yeah.
the only reason it wasn't my favorite was just because of the bin. Like I think that room itself is just kind of boomy,
Hmm.
and I mean I feel like a lot of stadiums are, but I
Sure.
don't, like the sound was great and the show was amazing. The lights were of course it was cold. It was Coldplay. Like it was
Yeah.
still 10 out of 10 show for me, but
Right.
uh, it was just I don't know. I'd never seen them. I didn't even know what I was getting into. Like I guess to a degree. So just that shock was just like, oh, I like actually really love this,
Yeah.
and there's no guilt anymore. Like so it was just like, man, they're so good live.
That's kind of like how it hit me with Manchester Orchestra, seeing them for the first time at the Tabernacle back in, I guess it was 2011 on the Simple Math tour, and yeah, they just blew my mind, man. They were so good. Yeah, that's my number two favorite concert of all time, and
They're so
because
good. I can't wait to see them this Friday, dude. I'm so
oh man, it's gonna be so killer, them and Thrice. Yeah, man. So what when the time from the point that this drops, it'll be after that happens. But yeah, I'm so psyched to see that with you, man.
All of us are gonna bro out. It's gonna be a beautiful, beautiful evening.
Oh yeah. Have you seen both of those bands before or no?
Never seen Thrice.
Okay.
But I saw Manchester once at the Tabernacle. Um, I can't remember what record they were. I think it was around the time they did the one. It was what was after Simple Math.
I think Cope was after that.
It was right around when Cope came out,
Yeah.
and I love that album. That record's so great.
Yeah.
But I'd never seen them live before, and the wall of sound that is Manchester Orchestra live is
Yeah, exactly.
experience. It's very
Oh
cool.
yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be great, man. I can't wait. So, did you have any other honorables on this one or
You know what? I do. I will have to say, you mentioned it's funny that you mentioned Lorraine earlier.
yeah.
Uh, I was in a post rock because Lorraine was a for those listening. Lorraine was a post rock band that I was in forever ago, and they're still around now. Go check them out; they're great.
Yeah.
But Explosions in the Sky actually is a huge honorable mention for me because while there wasn't there they I saw them at the Georgia Theater and it wasn't like there weren't any crazy lights or anything like that, but it was kind of the same kind of vibe as Bon Iver.
Hmm.
It's just so intense and so um pretty and beautiful and everything like that the whole theater was just silent
Yeah.
and so like in the quiet moments there was nothing unless like somebody was building tension and there was a shout or something like that, but other than that it was just that was a for a band that is completely instrumental to pull on that many people's emotions in a room like that it's crazy to me. That's very cool to be able to do something like that with no words.
Oh,
So
absolutely, man. That's awesome. So cool, man. Well, dude, I could talk music with you like all day. So, but I know you got some other things going on, so I want to be respectful of your time. But dude, this was a blast.
yeah,
And
man.
again, yeah, I can't wait to hang with you soon. And dude, we got to do another music documentary night in the near future.
Or
What's next on the docket? I know we finally did Pearl Jam 20, so
we watched the Radiohead one.
yeah.
Have we watched Head Full of Dreams together? That might have to be next. Have you seen
That
Head?
might have to because I watched it with Ian for sure, but I don't think I've watched it with you though.
Yeah, yeah.
So
We might have to watch that one for the thousandth time.
yeah,
But
yeah, totally.
but
But yeah,
thanks for
man.
having me, man. This was so much fun. The list was fun to make, but very difficult, and really hearing the other guys definitely helped me kind of figure out what I was going to do. But I appreciate you having all
Yeah.
this on. This has been a lot of fun. Can't wait to.
Oh yeah, man. It's my pleasure. Once again, be on the lookout. A band called Love. Check them out. They do have stuff out already, so but there's a lot more greatness to come, hopefully in the very near future, guys. So thank you again, Mr. Love. You're the man, and I'll see you soon, dude. Love you, man.
Take it easy.
See ya.